Good day, everyone, and welcome to Houston SolidWorks User Group meeting, our third quarter meeting, which we're hosting at Longstar College, the Sci-Fair campus. We got Dan started on the intro for the event. However, we're experiencing slight technical difficulty, so you should be hearing and seeing Dan very shortly. I ask that you bear with us, sit back, enjoy, and we'll be with you shortly. Doing the technical stuff, there's some noise popping and going on, but we apologize in advance, but hope you enjoy the presentation. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
What she does and how her company helps engineers everywhere learn more about SolidWorks and enhance their careers and become better engineers. I had no idea that was even a career or a thing you could do. I was so focused on being an engineer and designing parts or designing assemblies. And I took a pretty hard left turn into this SolidWorks software reseller area. And I've been here ever since. And I've really loved it because it's offered me a chance over the years to see so many different types of design and so many different industries and products. And it landed me here with the ability to work with Joe and Chris and others like those guys every day, which is awesome. So what is SolidWorks, right? If you're not familiar with what SolidWorks is, I hope you are. Like Joe said, I hope you're familiar with Joe's group, and I hope you're familiar with SolidWorks. But without digging too deep into it, it is industry standard design 3D software, right? And I would just say industry standard by saying if you are looking for a job, if you ever go on job boards or job postings, the number one most requested design tool for an engineer or designer is SolidWorks by far. And there's been a lot of studies on this, and we certainly have a vested interest in watching that number. And SolidWorks far exceeds a lot of the other tools in the space. With that said, yeah, there are other tools in the space, right? There's actually a lot of other CAD software, especially in education. We're seeing that now more than ever, that in the educational space, you're going to come across a lot of different design tools, a lot of different options for doing 3D design on your local machine and in your browser. But when you get to industry, very much so, still the accepted standard is SolidWorks for 3D design. And when we get into SolidWorks, which is a brand here in Dassault Systems, what do I do here, right? I manage something called the SolidWorks User Group Network. And the User Group Network is exactly what you're seeing there in the room. It is a worldwide collection of groups that meet just like you are to learn and grow, to connect and collaborate, and to get inspired, right? To figure out and understand how other people are using the tool that maybe you spend so much time designing sheet metal parts and you have no idea how people design plastic parts or electronic components or piping assemblies or any other branch of the software, which there are so many. And a user group is all about creating a space where those sorts of people can get together and learn a whole lot from each other. And for my role here at SolidWorks, it's supporting these groups. It's making sure that they all have the tools and the resources that they need. We financially support these groups, right? We have a vested interest in these groups existing, but Joe will tell you we don't own these groups, right? SolidWorks does not own these groups or the network. They're owned and operated by the user group leaders who are volunteers. So Joe, Chris, others are volunteers that are giving their time to expand the engineering community in their area. And it very much is a volunteer effort. And again, these people do quite a lot for the community. Our URL, our landing page is swugin.org. So you're going to hear me throw that acronym around quite a bit, SWUGIN, which is the SolidWorks User Group Network. Just this year, we partnered with a vendor called Bevy, and we basically collected all of the groups around the world and implemented a whole new site and created basically a new home for SWUGIN. So I'll just kind of show that live here. This means that most of the groups and most of the meetings are now under one roof in one space. Before this, We were on meetup.com, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. In other countries, there's local social medias for other countries. We've collected as much as we can and made a really huge investment in the community and collected that into this singular system that you're seeing here. It's the system that we're meeting on tonight, because not only is this thing like like a meetup.com and like an Eventbrite, but it also has a built-in virtual tool that we're using here right now. So for us, it replaced and connected a lot of different things that before this were quite separate. And I'm happy to say that over 11,000 people, I didn't update this number today. Over 11,000 people have joined this just since late February when we launched this. So late February was our main conference this year. And we'll talk about the one we have coming up in February of next year. But over 11,000 people have joined us, and we're on track to have about 15,000 people join by the end of the year. And that's worldwide. That's not just here in the US, that's all over the place. We have big pockets of users in Africa, in India, in different parts of Europe. We're focusing on expanding in the Asia Pacific region. And of course, here in North America, we have quite a lot of groups, South America as well. So it's really great to see. And it's so far been a really amazing tool for us. So at the bare minimum, I encourage everybody here after tonight, visit swugin.org, create your account for free. It's completely free and easy to do, and join the groups that you want to be a member of. I hope you've already joined the Houston group here, but you have the chance for free to join all of these other groups and attend their meetings if they're virtual, entirely for free. And it's, as you're seeing tonight, it's free SolidWorks training. It is all about just connecting people and helping them learn and grow. One of those big events that we do is something called Slug Me. So this is the SolidWorks largest user group meeting ever. And every year for Slug Me, as an example, like fun, big things that we do as a network together to try and pull the community together, we have this big meeting where we design something crazy. We design something really cool in SolidWorks, and then we physically build it in real life. So last year we built an electric powered drift cart, and I had the CEO drifting an electric drift cart through our parking lot, and I was very nervous. It was a very nervous time, and luckily no one got hurt, and it was awesome, but pretty crazy stuff. This year, all right. So just mentioned a moment ago that we have this big event called Slug Me, which is a really large broadcast that we do. This year, we modeled can you guys still hear me okay, Chris? Joe? Okay, cool. We modeled a full-scale dinosaur in our cloud-based products, and we're building this thing. It exists in real life. And what you'll get to see as part of this broadcast is basically us walk through the process of if you're a designer trying to create something like this, right? You're trying to make something like this in our tools. What is the process you would go through to physically make it, and what would that look like? I'll give everybody a preview here. This is a good preview because there's no paint on it yet, but this thing exists in real life. This dinosaur is full. It's like 7 feet tall. I know it doesn't look it, but it's 7 feet tall, and it's crazy. Chris, just wave at me if anything goes wrong again, okay?
Just stay on this.
Yeah, and I'll get through the rest of this pretty quickly here, everybody, too. I know you want to get to the rest of your meeting. So now you know about SolidWorks, you know about Swugin, right? Everybody still okay in the room? Joe, Chris?
Yes.
All good? Okay, so what we'll finish with just a couple things here, right? You can be a speaker at 3D Experience World yourself, right? You can, of course, attend this conference. We have a really big conference called 3D Experience World. You're going to hear about it from Joe. I hope you're going to hear about it from a lot of people, but it's there in Houston, and it's in February. You can register for it now. Registration is actually open. You can also be a speaker for 3D Experience World. You don't have to be an expert in SolidWorks to speak at this event. And if you speak at the event, you get a free pass. You get a free conference pass. And there's a whole process. There's a whole submission process that you can go through to submit really just an idea, right? You don't even have to submit a full-on presentation. You're just submitting an idea to attend this event. It is kind of what you're doing there in the room, but times 10, because it's over several days. It's all about learning and connecting through different sessions. I'm going to skip this quick history lesson just for the sake of time, so we can kind of cut to the end here. Go ahead, Joe.
So he is being very modest. That's Dan. He said time 10 in this room. No, time 100 in this room.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I know. So if you're getting just if you leave here with anything, but we'll talk about that as well to see how much more you're going to get from coming to that event. But it's mind blowing. Okay, Dan. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally right, Joe. And it is a full on trade show, and big stages with large presentations. A lot of people, about 4,000 people attend this event there in person. There's parties through the week. There's exciting keynote presenters, and it's there in your hometown, right? I assume this is hometown for most of the people there in the room. And if you have a chance to attend this, even if you're not a hardcore SolidWorks user, if you're an engineer or a designer, this is the place to be. This is very much the conference to attend. A lot of really exciting tech, a lot of really exciting announcements around CAD software. I always give a shout out to Joe because he's front and center at this thing, getting people hype, and he is like the hype man for 3D Experience World and for SolidWorks in general. So if you at all like what Joe's doing there in the room, Joe times 100 at 3D Experience World for sure. When you see him there, but a lot of fun. And there's 4,000 people behind Joe here in this shot, and we're front row center with our community programs. Just gives you a quick idea, right? You show up on Saturday or maybe even Sunday. We have a lot of technical sessions even on Sunday. Every day, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's a big general session, and then the rest of the day is packed with technical breakouts. So it's the most SolidWorks training. It's the most technical training you can possibly pack into 3.5 days. And that includes a lot of receptions and parties and networking events as well. And again, the advantage that you all have of having it there in Houston, if you don't have to pay for a hotel room, you don't have to pay for travel, you can just go attend this event. The great majority of people who attend this event are traveling in for it from all over the planet. And in this case, you have it there in Houston for you. So this is the agenda from last year. I just said TBD for 2026. We haven't actually released that, but full technical breakout sessions with actual hands-on machines, but then also more instructional sessions, more lecture sessions as well. We also have networking roundtable discussions and meetups. A lot of fun. There's an app that makes the event really easy to follow on your phone. You can find your sessions. You can download maps. You can network with people while you're there through the app. So the app helps quite a bit as well. This is, again, just kind of an idea of a couple years ago, but the playground features a lot of different things. I won't go into all of them here for the sake of time, but an education zone, a shop floor where you have a lot of CNC machines, a maker zone where people are physically doing maker projects and applying immediately CAD software designs to physical parts in real life, a lot of 3D printing, a lot of things like that in real time. So again, just really amazing stuff. This is where we'll also feature a lot of our most exciting customer projects. That dinosaur that I just gave you a preview of a moment ago, hardly anybody has seen that yet, by the way. We're going to have that there at 3D Experience World and get the chance for everybody to take their picture with it as well. So again, just kind of a couple of highlights and crazy shots from a few years ago. There's something called Model Mania, where if you think you're a really fast SolidWorks user, you sit down in one of these booths and they give you designs, and it's literally like a time trial. So we time trial how fast people use SolidWorks, how fast they can make a change and run a really simple simulation. And at the end of the conference, we celebrate those people and award Model Mania champions, which is really exciting. Again, a lot of fun. I'm just jumping forward here a little bit. Some of the evening events, evening receptions we've had in the past. Some of the community team efforts. We run a space called The Hive, which is like a networking, little quieter space where if you want to have a good conversation with somebody, you have a space to do that. And the meetups themselves are like basically sessions for you. Like if you focus on electrical design, or if you are really interested in bringing STEM into more schools, or a topic we're focusing on a lot of this year is women in engineering. If you want to support women in engineering, we're going to have a meetup of people at the conference who have that same passion, right? Makers, or plastic part design, or whatever, right? We have a lot of different meetups around different topics. So it's kind of like birds of a feather type meetups where you get a chance to talk with people who are focused on the same thing as you. And those meetups too are really interesting because it's heads of R&D from SolidWorks. If I went down this list of people that are in the front of the room in some of these pictures, they're the heads of R&D at SolidWorks, and you get a chance to ask them directly, like, hey, I use the tool in this way, and I have this experience. And they'll right away, give you feedback and have a conversation with you about it. And really, again, no other place during the year you can do something like that. So I'll finish here just by saying I also get to go on main stage and recognize a lot of really awesome people. You see Joe and a lot of shots here as well. And we get to give out awards and recognize these awesome community members that we have. And it's just always a blast. So from SolidWorks to SWGN, what you're there doing today, to 3D Experience World, which is in February. I hope you see a place somewhere in there for you to plug in and be part of the community. And Joe, if I can answer any questions for anybody, or if there's anything else, I'd be happy to hang around too.
All right, Dan, thanks. Everybody listen up. So we'll do a deep dive in that when we get to at the panel. We'll talk more about the world and how that operates. But because the majority of you are here are students, Dan, can you elaborate just a little about the students discount? If not, I can have Dr. Wang, who's hosting us, to have discussion on that just a little bit.
Yeah, there are specific discounts and even specific programs for students. And one good thing we have here is a whole team that focuses just on EDU and just on students. So Joe, I think even after today, everybody can see my email on screen right now. If there are any students or anybody that wants info, I can connect them directly with Cynthia and our education.
So we're not up again. We're not up with this. So hang on a second, Dan. Just keep that up there. Can you do another unscreen? Okay, that's good. Good deal. Okay. So does anyone in the room have any questions for Dan? And I'll also have his QR code at the end of the presentation as well, so you can get the same information you have there. Any questions for Dan? You guys are letting them off too easy, man. You got a hammer here. All right.
Maybe I will have a question.
Sure.
I work here, but I have connections with the university. I studied in Mexico, so maybe a group of students want to come to 3D Experience World.
Okay.
Next year.
So coming from
Mexico.
Mexico?
Yeah. So maybe that discount. I don't know if there's something special for.
Yeah.
Let me talk about that because I actually went this year to 3D Experience. At least this year, all college students can register for free. It's completely free. And you actually, so I don't know if it's going to change for next year, but for 2025, when I went, I did bring students. It was completely free. They got the full registration. It was not some kind of, handicapped version of registration. Because I remember all the registered attendees got like swags of a full backpack and everything. The students got that as well. They're like free lunch every day. There was one free lunch ticket, and the students got that as well. So it was completely free. So I hope it is still free next year, so that all the students can take advantage of that.
I'm going off the website here. We do list educator pass at 200.
So right now it's showing 100, but when I went, it was free. That I know.
Yeah, and I think there are some promotions and some packages we can do as well. And even I know Mexico was mentioned. We have a lot of really great user group leaders in Mexico as well that we work with. So I would love to know where they are and connect with them.
Okay, so we will, if there are students who are interested in going next year, hopefully you are in my ASME club, so we can do like promotion before, before that, and see if we can get a group of students attending. It is multi-day, so you kind of have to work that into your school schedule and your work schedule. But when I was there, it was a great experience. I also want to talk a little bit about the license for SolidWorks. So first of all, I know that some of you are working on the Lunabotics competition in the ASME. Anybody like that? Yes. Okay, a few of you. So as a team, you can send a request and get a free license because you are a college team doing competition. And I also have license. I do not give them out freely because we are sharing limited number of license for the entire Lone Star College system. So I do have license, but I do not just send it out to everybody. Okay. So if there's enough interest, we can talk about that on our club Discord server. If there's enough interest, maybe I can do like a quick, like a crash course one day, and then kind of like a workshop. And then if you're showing that you're serious about it, I can give you a license that will expire next June. Okay, sounds good. All right.
Okay. Well, any other questions for Dan? That was a good question. I know we have a few user group in your. Dan, do you have the map handy? I'm not sure exactly where you are, but I'm sure we have some user groups in your area. Yeah.
I know one of them showed up this past year.
Can you hear me, Dan?
Yep. Let me share my screen again.
Yeah. So that's another thing. If you know someone that may not be in the area, we do have a map available. Well, if you go at the David site, now you can just key in the area that you're in, and we'll pull up a user group that's in your area. But we'll get to that as well. But he's going to bring that up for you now to show you all over the world, no matter where you are.
Can you hear my? Can you see my screen as well, Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. One thing that was really cool last year is we had a group of our leaders in Mexico actually drive to Houston for the event. They all collected and drove. There was over, I think, over 20 hours of driving by the time they got up, and it was awesome. We hung out with those guys all week. It was a blast. So
That's great.
I'd love to support more of that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, Dan. Well, thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Joe, it was an honor. Thank you for having me. I have a 10-year-old who's probably burnt the house downstairs by now. So
I don't want to hear that. I'm not responsible for it. I know nothing.
thank you, everybody. This has been awesome.
All right, Dan. Thanks a lot. So we're going to make a quick shift here. We're going to have a quick presentation showing some entry level stuff. Just kind of talk through, get some conversation going. Feel free to interject. That's why we're here. Ask some questions. But once he's done with that, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll get to the panel, which I think is going to be very productive for all of you about why we're here, how we got here. That's what we really want to expand. But he's just going to do a little quick presentation there, and once we get done with that, we'll be good. Good to go.
Couple hours.
Sorry? All right, guys. So if I can get your attention, who's going to begin his presentation?
So essentially, I'm just going to show how to quickly make a simple part. We can definitely do this in multiple ways. That's the beauty of SolidWorks, is you don't have to be stuck in one specific mode. You can do it with surfacing. You can do it with Boolean operations. You can do it with sheet metal. You can do it with simple extrusions and cuts. I'm just going to do a quick bracket here. We're showing you the dimensions and the information about it. I'm going to make that part, put it into assembly, and show you a couple of the assembly evaluation tools. Answer some questions, and we can move on from there. There's something going on, Joe?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. I can speak up if you need to. I'll also try to slow down because I'm like really ready to go. So this simple bracket, we can easily see that it's 100 millimeters tall, 75 millimeters wide, 10 millimeters thick. So if I'm looking at this for my design intent, that's what I'm pretty much going to start with. So I'm going to switch over here to SolidWorks, just starting part. And since we're in millimeters, we instantly change to a millimeter setting. And then from there, I'm going to just select my front plane and start a sketch. Yeah, simple and easy. The line command. And what I'm going to do is show just a couple of dimensions to define it. And then I just need an extrusion. Now notice I just did a simple L shape. I don't have to give a profile. I can create a profile in this box extrude to give it thickness and depth at the same time. So our width of the part was 50 millimeters. But because of my design intent, I want to actually use that plane that I used for my sketch to be in the center. So I'm going to change the direction to be midplane, so it splits it evenly. And then I'm going to say, and it already says that my offset is 10 millimeters. So my material thickness is 10 millimeters. But it's actually going in the wrong direction because I want those planes that I was using for my design intent. So I'm actually going to flip the direction and then say, okay. And there's my main plate. Now the second thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put those the ribs in on the sides here, and those are shown at 32.5 from the end, going up at a 45-degree angle. So switch back over, and then I'm just going to use this face and make another sketch. Define it from the end, 32.25. 32.5. And then put an angle dimension between the surfaces. And then my feature is a rib. So I can do the same thing with the rib as I did with my main extrude, and I can make it centered or go off from one side or another. I want this to go off the inside. Let's see, what was the thickness of that? It was 5 millimeters. So I'll change this to 5.
Extend your line a little further.
Yeah. Now,
I like to do this.
Is it not fully defined?
yes.
No. Yes. Did you see it? Direction.
Boy, oh boy. Yeah, I've got to tell it to put the material on the inside. There we go.
Troubleshooting broken.
Oh, okay. This is what not to do during a demo.
Okay.
But in money, I'm not.
Fly.
You told me it was laser.
It's live, yes. And Joe and I know all about being live. All right. There we go. There's our rib. Yay. Okay. Everybody clap for that. Okay. All right. Everybody got it? So then, instead of duplicating the effort, why don't we just do a mirror? And put it on the side. Okay. Next feature. Let's do this through hole on the top. Again, simple and easy. Matt, are you navigating this?
In my head.
No, out loud.
Whoops. Was that number 25?
Yeah.
It was 25. See, Matt, you should be driving this, man.
If you don't want it, you'll break something.
Probably.
Yeah, he's actually known to break things worse than that. And again, there are several different ways to do this. We could spend more time going over those different options, but I'm just going through real quick and showing a couple of different features. This is the bottom keyway. Keyway. 40 from the front, 12.5 radius, 5 in the front.
I hate having one screen. I have to have like all my screens.
Oh, let me tell you. Oh,
I
yes,
have
I completely agree with you.
I have run into that problem for so long.
One screen is
I'm used to 3 screens and now I'm doing this on 1. So.
very hard.
But again, because of the way I pick my planes, I know I have a center plane to pick off of to make sure that everything is in line correctly. So I made a coincident relationship between the center of that radius, so I knew exactly where it was sitting. I wish I had 2 screens.
I'll take a picture. Find it this way.
So, yeah.
Are you sure you're working with SolidWorks? We have different features.
Yes. Yes. Only because it's easy to run. Oh, thank you.
The last screen, if you get the
You don't have to have multiple screens, you can have one. And when you're designing in your head, or if you've got a piece of paper in front of you, it's not that big a deal. But because I have a PDF screenshot, I have to keep referencing. I could have made it a lot easier on myself and actually printed it out, but.
once you go to do this, you're not going to. What? Once you go more, you're not. Go on to
What?
Dude's already saw this.
Yeah, so as we're going through here, I want to make sure that
All right, guys, I know you got distracted for just a minute, but it's disrespectful. I know how our presenter had a little problems, but let's stay on point. We'll have a chance to open discussion, and we encourage that, but not when the speaker is speaking. but not when the speaker is speaking.
So,
Thank you so much.
so again, design intent, I make sure that the center point of this little notch is actually online as well. So then when I put the dimensions in, they're centered properly. So this is 5 millimeters off the side. Yeah, and then my radius has to be defined at 12 and a half. Okay, and then I'm going to use the cut extrude again, cut straight through that. And for time purposes, that's essentially my part. Yes, there's more detail, but that's irrelevant to what I'm trying to accomplish here. So you the different parts. Yes, ma'am. Yes, actually, there's plenty of not only YouTube, but we can connect you with a couple of users after the meeting. Matt up front, he's got a lot of different models that he has access to for practice and being able to understand the different types of features and different parts that can be made.
You repeat the question, please? And SolidWorks also has really good tutorials built into it.
Yes, there's. So not only do you have the tutorials in the software itself, but all over the web and it's solidworks.com, there are a lot of different models from different genres, from different industries that you can go through and model. And YouTube has a ton of really good people who know what they're doing to show you how to make things as well.
A lot of champions.
Indeed.
So I'm going to save my part, and then I'm going to open up another couple parts that I'm going to then use to make a small assembly. So I have a base, and I have a swivel pin, and I have that bracket I just made. So what's nice is I can take this base that I've got, and I can instantly go and say, I'm going to make a new assembly with this part, and it puts that part in the assembly automatically. Then I can go in and insert the other two items that I have and insert them on screen. So with that being said, now I have these parts I can make an assembly out of. Now because I know what this is supposed to look like, and here's a picture of it. The swivel pin goes into the bracket is locked in position over the main pin in the base. So I'm going to make my assembly do the same thing. So by using mates, I can make correlations between the different geometries to pull them together. Now, as you can see, I made concentric mates, so those items are now locked in the same axis, but they're not locked that locks it vertically. And what I'm going to show you is actually that because I'm going to use this base to make multiple pieces, I can do what's called a multi-mate. Selecting the base first, because that's the common face, and then selecting the other two faces of the other two items. And it brings them together at the same time. Now, the only thing that I've got as a problem is that this is not locked together. These do not swivel at the same rate. So I need to lock the faces together, and I can easily do that by making a parallel mate between two faces that should stay parallel at all times. Now, by doing that, now I have bracket that's set to specs, and the swivel pin is locking it in place. Now, what if we wanted to know what the position was of this face compared to the base when it hits this point, when it hits this limiting factor here? Well, first of all, we've got to get it lined up. And to try to get that lined up, boy, I'm going to have a hard time estimating exactly where that is. So we're going to use a tool called Move. And we're going to move that, but we're going to use collision detection. So it's going to, the SolidWorks is looking to see when these two pieces touch. And when they touch, we're going to tell it to stop at collision. And we're going to specifically look at these two pieces. So when I say resume drag and grab the bracket, it instantly stops when it hits the pin. So that is its extent. When it collides, that's as far as it'll go. I didn't have to do any guesswork. I didn't have to do any calculations to figure that out. I just used the move command. Now at that point, I can go to evaluate, and I can do a measure. And that, looking at the face that I asked in question, that compared to this face, what is its angle? Well, it's currently sitting at 171 degrees. Again, just a random example of a quick part assembly and analysis tool. This is just to get you a little bit of your feet wet as far as what we can do with this, and there's so much more that can be done. And we'll talk to you more about that later in the meeting to really understand what you guys would like to see. And we are here to help and understand what you need and give it to you.
All right.
So,
Just a quick interjection. So we do have 3D printers here. So if you're like, well, what am I going to do when I create those models using SolidWorks, right? Well, the next step, if you wish to, you can 3D print your parts, and then you can make your own assembly of physical objects. Okay? That is open to assemblers.
So we're going to take just a few minutes break, but before we take a break, I'm going to get some stuff on over here on the table. Before we go to break, and when we come back from break, we'll be doing the panel. So if you just a second with me, share screens.
And Joe, what is the panel for the fellow students?
Oh, I will. If you want to describe that.
So make sure to come back, because for the panel, remember we have professionals here. They're our guests coming here today, and they will be in a slot later serving as the panel, and they will share their experience as professionals. Okay, so this is for you to learn directly from them. What your future, your getting into technology, getting into engineer, what your job is going to be, difficulties, challenges and lessons, important lessons. So make sure after the break, make sure to come back. Okay.
Okay, so as you were saying about the panel, the reason we wanted the panel because we wanted to capture. We didn't want to get Chris experience. He's too old, and I'm a little older. So
Shoot.
So I got to do him under the bus, but I'm a lot older. So
yeah, some of us are retired, Joe.
Okay, as I was saying, that we tried to make a panel of players that's very diverse, so that each of you can get a perspective on the females, the male, the young, and the elderly. And this was really just drill them, ask the question, and we have a few throwdown questions to pull some stuff out in. They don't know what it is. We're ready to hit them off. We're not going to hit them off easy, but we encourage you because this could change your career, but what you're thinking you're going to go into. But we'll talk more about that. Let's do a quick drawing. I'm gonna spin the wheel. I can't get a full screen somewhere on that. Can you control the full screen from that? So here's what I'm gonna do. If you've been here before and you already have a backpack, I ask you to leave the backpack reserved for someone who don't have one. Other than that, if your name is picked, go pull something off the table and we'll continue to go. We'll see if you where now or just somewhere afterwards. Okay? Is that fair enough?
Sir.
You know, this is your part of the panel. This is it. But I have a quick case right now. Okay, so we're gonna start.
I know I never.
All right, so here we go.
Yes, it has like a good luck.
And the winner is, that two Andy in there? Do I have two Andys?
Anthony.
Is there Anthony here?
You just left? Oh, rad.
Oh, you just left?
And you have to be here.
The one guy.
Must be present to us.
Okay, I'm gonna do it all.
And you in the room, kid.
And I,
Come on.
I have two Andys. Who's Andy? Is there Andy in the room? Andy, how'd you done it twice? You
No,
have a twin?
I guess it's double names. It's like,
No,
yeah.
what is it? What's the record? So I'm gonna put Andy.
My name's Chris. It's not me. It's not me.
That helps.
Do we have more than one Andy? Come on.
Is it more than one?
Do we have any other Andy in the room? One Andy?
Open
It's okay. I'll wait for him. Okay. All right, let's go. I'll be taking it. Oh my God. William. Okay, so we're right along.
They want to emphasize.
Jason. Hey, Jason here? Jason, hey, congratulations. Michael.
Joe, you probably want to save some for after the panel discussion.
I do, I will.
Maybe for the better coming back.
I know, right here. Is there Amanda here?
No, this might be.
Oh.
It's all good, it's all good. Okay, so we'll do another one and then we'll go to break and we'll regroup with the panel.
Oh, I'm rolled, that's crazy.
All right, we'll take just a quick break, we'll get the panel in place and we'll get going.
No, I actually been taking.
I figured out what you're doing. You're clicking this and it's live.
So first on the left, we have, you know what, I'll have you guys introduce yourself. That's the key is the improvement. I think for me today. So we'll start at Alet.
Oh, hi everybody. I'm Mariel Cantu. I'm a mechanical design engineer at HOUSUG, which is a consulting engineering firm based only here in Houston, and we do downhole tool equipment, development, machining, everything in between. I graduated from the University of Texas in Edinburgh a while back per se, but my journey with SolidWorks started about 12 years ago. While I was still in college, I was part of the SAU Society of Automotive Engineers, which is basically what got me to start using a lot more SolidWorks. I've been with Joe's group about 2.5 years, and it is a lot of fun. I mean, it's a really nice software. We attended, this is Karthik, my worker. We attended the SolidWorks World this year for the first time, and it's really, really amazing, the technology and everything that you can do with this software.
Hello everyone, I'm Karthik Gohil. I'm working as a mechanical engineer at TSWC. I have done my master's in mechanical engineering from the Texas A&M Kingsville, and I have been using SolidWorks since almost like 9 years. I have been using it, and it's been my core tool for my job, and it's been amazing. SolidWorks, the journey that I have started. I mean, whenever I started, I didn't know how to use it, nothing at all. Not even select the plane or whatever comes in it. But now I think I learned a lot of things from the SolidWorks, and I already gained my professional license in SolidWorks. And also last 2.5 years, I have been attending the SolidWorks group because of the job. So 2.5 years ago, we have event at our work, right? Yeah, 2.5 years ago. So basically, we do everything in SolidWorks, from modeling to drawing to simulations. And last year we have this year we went to the SolidWorks one for the first time. Oh, it's amazing experience. I believe everyone should visit every year, but just go with empty head and a lot of learning, and whatever you are in, like precisely active or whatever importance to you, attend that, and people all around from the world coming in, and you can connect with the more intelligent people, and it's just amazing to attend SolidWorks, and next year we'll be going to. And this group is really nice, friendly. I hope everyone join and student. It's really helpful in their career and their day-to-day life. So networking. So thanks everybody, and we'll start Joe, Chris, Mario, everybody. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Janine Kelly, and I've been using SolidWorks for 14 years. And I graduated in 2009 in architectural engineering, and we did not touch SolidWorks. So my first experience using SolidWorks was at my job I'm currently working now. So I work at CAN-rig drilling technology. We do drilling equipment. So top drive works, all the components that's needed to drive a rig and run the drill for oil. That's what we do. And so my experience with SolidWorks, like you said, I didn't know I had any experience when I first started, but having the experience of using AutoCAD and using SolidWorks SketchUp, it kind of helped me out with learning SolidWorks, and also patience of your coworkers. So that's the one thing advice I would give is when you start a new job, just come with an open mind, just like with SolidWorks Pro. And everything you learned at school, you use it, but come with an open mind because everybody got their own traffic standards, and well, they're following some standards, but it's their own way of doing things with company culture. So
So if I can get all of you to just get a little bit closer to my head, so as we go through this, I want you to think of some things that you want to know. We have a few questions for them, but just take notes of stuff that you want to know because we really want to hear from you. That's what it's all about. So, so without further ado, I'll read the first question with you. Let's get like. So, the first question to you, in one word, and I'll start with you, is that in one word, tell me why you accepted to be here. What was, in one word, why did you accept the invitation?
One word, why I accepted this
To
invitation.
be here.
Growth.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, the SolidWorks group, and I want to make a future engineer.
Just one word. It's a long word.
Disconnect this like a
Yeah. Yeah, SolidWorks group.
Hard work, because it's a lot of hard work to get to the point where you know, let's say if you have an idea and you want to design something like say using SolidWorks, there's a lot of hard work that gets behind it, like people from support groups, from mentors, from students, from professors, everybody can help you out to get.
Okay. So, and as they answer the questions, if you have a question from the word that they use, feel free to ask them. I want you to understand because there may be some things you start early in your career. You think, why? I don't know. You may be thinking things I'm not. So, open up. That's why we're here.
I'll say why I picked growth. I picked growth because I do need to get out my own head and be able to speak in front of people because I know I can, but sometimes I get nervous. So this is part of my growth, and also being a part of this SolidWorks community. You learn so much from it, right? So growth is part of every part of life. You never stop learning. So.
Good. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone have questions for that? No, we'll keep going.
Oh, she had a question. I saw her.
Absolutely. I'm sorry.
So, for people who don't have, sorry.
For, say, students in college who don't really have experience in engineering, how would you advise them to be more appealing to employers? Like, what are people looking for?
I will suggest you like highly recommend, as I was telling them, join your school clubs. That will help you a lot. One, to network with the professors. They can help you get like recommendation letters as well. I mean, they will have different projects for you to work on. Try to do like either some sort of work with projects with professors, helping them with them, and like just get involved with your school community. That will help.
I would say the people you're sitting next to, if people in your class, they are your future coworkers, possibly. And even me being in the oil and gas industry, you gotta be careful by how you talk to people. You always want to be really nice and inviting to everybody you meet that you work with, because that same person can leave that company and go to a company you're applying for. So they'll ask them about you because they see that they used to work with you. So networking is the most important thing, just like she said. And joining the SolidWorks group, being in SolidWorks world. I met Joe through this experience this year. I met other champions, and they all work places. Everybody's working somewhere, whether they're in HR, whether they're in admin, they can tell you about internal jobs. And so, like, you want to make sure, even when you're in the gym, when you're at church, just make sure you're showing yourself in a positive light. Everywhere you go, these people that you're coming in contact with, you may think, oh, they can't help me any way, but they can. They can set you and put you in front of the VP, they can put you in front of certain faces that you would never even know about. So like one of my mentors, he said that he got a job opportunity to get a really high level position from his network. He wasn't applying, he wasn't even looking. They just gonna pay, you wanna come get this job pretty much. So you never know what room your name is being brought up in. So just be cognizant of what you post online. Make sure you don't post on, it's so tempting on LinkedIn to post about politics, post about religion. Don't do it, don't even like it, because they can see what you like. And people are running algorithms, and they got social credit score of how you are based off of what you localize online. So just be careful about how you present yourself.
Yeah, I have a suggestion. Yeah, so if you have a willingness and if you want to start your career, I advise, and my suggestion, if you can start this small company or startup company, and if you have willingness, they can help you to grow in your career. So that is and if you can be a part of the group, like a SolidWorks group, or let's say you're a professor and have like some ASME, SME, or any kind of group, related to the field, it can help you to grow, and it can be, and you will meet a lot of mentor. So it will help you to guide there. And I mean, that's how I started my journey. I started with the small company. We were just like two engineers. So whenever I started, I didn't know anything about SolidWorks. I mean, I know a little bit, not much, just like very, very basic. But my boss has guided me, like in mentoring me, and it helped me a lot with my career. So if you have to have willingness to do. So that is my suggestion.
So to your question, I know a lot of the, my career has been all of my career has been in oil and gas, but I know all of the companies, small and big, that they go out at the colleges. Don't know how they do at the junior college, but internship is key.
Yes.
So even if the companies don't come here, you may know of a friend, or you may have someone that's working in engineering already. Knowing someone is also very important. And going back to what they say, be careful how you present yourself, because you never know who's watching you. You never know who your boss could be, whatever. But an internship is really a very valuable, gives you experience. Even if that company don't hire you, now you have experience. To your point, how do I get experience if no one hires me? And I haven't, and I'm starting out. So you may have to work at a low entry level fee, but you're building your career. So it's important to do that.
Yeah.
We had internships. We normally have a paid internship in our company, but this year we did, the industry is bad. So they did unpaid. And so those young people, they sacrifice it over summer, 40 hours a week. And sometimes you do have to make those sacrifices when it is a downturn. When it is a downturn, you have to make those sacrifices to get that experience. So the one guy that did that unpaid internship with our company, I was giving him advice, and another engineer helped work with him. So he soaked in all that, and he put that on his resume. So it's invaluable, because maybe the next time around for internships, you may get a job at Amazon because you got that experience at one summer. It's paying $60 an hour. So you can't always look at the dollar value, but the value added to your knowledge.
And another thing that I want to add, I guess, with that subject too, is that I know finding a job, finding an internship, it's hard, but you have like so many tools online, like free courses, free tutorials on your internet. I mean, if you're working with your advisor, they can probably give you access to one of those licenses that she was talking about, for you to do something, I don't know, like a puzzle or a small tool that you need in your home. I mean, you can do so many things with SolidWorks overall, like every 3D model. if you have an idea, you can just kind of sketch it out to mention it and make it out your own model, and basically she can print it out for you, and you can see your idea coming to life right in front of your eyes. So not only like internships can help, just doing your own research, look for competitions online, those free tutorials, free classes, that will help you a lot to increase your curriculum and resume, so if they see, okay, you have this experience with this and this and that. And that can also help with specific interests that everybody has too, because like I said, for example, we all fell into the oil field, but that was not necessarily what you would like to do whenever you get out of college. But it's just opportunities that they just come throughout the way, but there's so much more that we can do. So much more.
Yeah, to that point, and we have to move on to stay here, so let me add this. It's like, you may think you know exactly what you want to do now, but still blinded. My career was in a mechanical side of engineering. I'm an architect, is what I did. Yeah, I started on the board, I drew houses, I built houses, that's what I did. And the opportunity came along, and for the past 40, certain age, for the past 4 decades plus, I'm a mechanical engineer. So don't say you're your worst enemy. If you're doing that, then what else are you missing by doing that? You never know.
One direction, just like his is architectural, mine was architectural too. I thought it was be in commercial architecture, but 2009 happened, like construction, everything, recession, and I literally had to, after school, I went and worked retail for almost 2 years, then got a job, and as a job, and then became a mechanical designer. So it's like, it's different routes, but get to where you need to be. And you can always go back to what you're really wanting, but it's always multiple directions.
Okay, so the next question is kind of a generic question, and you have to give it to you. But is there anything a person can say to me hypothetical? Tell me what can I have to say to you to get you more involved with the software that you did. Like I know today you back and forth, but if they're thinking about maybe this is not for them, to you, what could I have said to you to say this is the way to go? Because before you know what it's all about now, you're in their shoes. Like, yeah, that's what's good, but no one is that. It's boring. You don't think it's boring now, but what was that could have made you?
Okay, so I mean, before that, I only came to know only after like 2.5 years, since they did the SolidWorks event at our company. Before that, I was not even aware of it, and I was really missed the opportunity that I know after 2.5 years. So what suggestion or something is a very friendly group. You will grow your knowledge. I mean, you will gain a lot of knowledge, and you will connect with the people that is in your industry. I mean, the SolidWorks industry, you will get to know a lot of people, and I mean, you will gain a lot of knowledge. Whatever the question you have, you will get answered, and it's amazing opportunity to come every time to the SolidWorks.
For me, the first SolidWorks World was this year for me, and just seeing.
I'm still mad with her.
Oh my gosh!
Here's why. Because she's not about, and this is why I'm asking quick. Because she's not about the group. She's heard about me, but now to her point, to her defense. Thanks, Michael. He's known me for a while, so he can fill in the gaps. That things happen that it couldn't happen. Couldn't attend the meetings and so forth. But it took you forever, years, to finally come around.
Yeah, I mean, it's growth. Like having more time. I have a daughter y'all ages. I have a 20-year-old about to be 21, and so I was just focused on my kid at that time. But I have way more time now. But like with being a part of SolidWorks world, it just expands your mind on well, 3D experience, I'm sorry. Being part of 3D experience, it expands your mind with all the tech, all the industries that use SolidWorks. Furniture companies, you have interior design, you had biomedical, you had so many industries at the SolidWorks world that uses not just oil and gas, that's what you hear because we're in Houston, but so many companies that you wouldn't even think about using SolidWorks, they use it. So learning this technology, and if you want to go into mechanical or electrical or software design, they're using SolidWorks, a lot of companies.
Yeah, basically just look all the way around. And I'm pretty sure this was made in SolidWorks. The same product bottles, cell phones, everything is
Pins,
3D design,
so many things.
fabric, clothing, jewelry, as you said, furniture, shoes. Every single item has some design. And then all will be coming up together within a 3D software. That's almost.
So anything y'all think about design wise, it's not boring, I'm telling you. There's so much stuff in
So I can give an example to that extreme. And I asked Mr. Pasquale if he wanted to join because he's also have a ton of experience in oil and gas as well. He doesn't have to go up there, he could participate with testing as well. The thing that blew me away, 2 years ago, I went to, at a beta testing, where we got a chance to meet the developers that design the software. That's the advantage of going to World. The people that actually design the software, we get to sit with them, talk with them, and test the system. And that is crucial. However, who I was with, he can contest to this, is that we would sit like, well, why did you do that? Why did you do this? They're a developer, they're software creators, they're not the users. The users see things that a different eye, and so you're very instrumental by having that input. But the thing that I was going to say is that I met a young lady, you remember when you were at World, she using the software, she designed her shoes, her wedding gown, and I'm like, wait a minute, how'd you do that? It's a pattern, right? You have to sketch the pattern out, you draw it out and pull whatever. It blew up. So think out of the box. To meet up with extreme, you do it with what? We used to meet people at World that was in the medical field. Like, how are you using software for that? We're in oil and gas, we were just seeing oil and gas. And that's the advantage of learning because they're using the tool differently. And you said, well, how did you do that? So when I went back to me doing it the same old way every time, I got new tips and tricks that I can use. So those were some medical things that you just, like when you're listening to Dan, you literally, we've been to a crowd of 5,000 or 6,000 people. Everyone's talking the same lingo. You can't talk, you can't say anything wrong. That's crazy. That's Janae, she's still buzzing over that. Anyway.
Oh, yes. Because the thing is, even I think that's maybe another thing why I didn't come to the user group, because I was thinking I started using SolidWorks at my job and using it basically, and now using it way better, more advanced, but just feeling intimidated. Don't know what room you're walking into, thinking you're gonna have a room full of experts, and who am I? So like, just get that out your mind, because even in SolidWorks world, 3D experience world, I don't even say SolidWorks, I'm sorry, 3D experience world, and the user groups, they know you're at every level. It reminds me of college, because the professor is teaching everybody as no matter what level they are, and from the start. So it's like nobody's judging you. And so if you're judging, if you're thinking you don't deserve to be in the room, it's because you're saying you don't deserve to be in the room, not based off of how everybody's treating you. Because they treat you well at the 3D experience and user group. They used to call it SolidWorks, bro. So like, it's so hard. I
remember.
I didn't go, but okay.
Sorry. So the next question I have, I think we pretty much answered it, is It was, how did you get here in your career? I think you explained that already, so we'll skip past that. Any questions for the audience? Or anyone in the room, not just audience, not just.
Got one quick question.
Yeah.
So what skills besides 3D design do you think that is essential for engineering students to start learning?
Problem solving. It's the main thing. And you can apply it, like, let's say if you have, I don't know, a piece of a broken cable, you're trying to say, okay, how can I fix it? It's just like little things here and there that it's just pretty much critical thinking what we like to make. At least in my experience.
Outside of the engineering and the software, the math, the stuff like outside of that, being able to speak to people and being able to write an email and explain what you're trying to tell them. And so the soft skills, the writing, organization, you got to be very organized because you have an assembly that's got 1,000+ dimensions on there, and you have to check them all, right? So, and they always give you a schedule, and it's never enough time.
Never.
You know, and you'll look at the projects that you're doing in college, and when you go to school, they'll tell you, I need that in 3 days. It used to be your whole semester project, so it'll be 3 days versus the whole semester. So, time organization skills, writing, and being able to speak to people is very important. Soft skills. It's all the other stuff that you hate to take, right? Yeah. I hate the public speaking. I hate the writing and all that stuff. But that's so key that being able to, once you get in there, to be able to move forward in the company, they look for people who can communicate. That's really what it is.
And always open to learning.
Yeah, that's essential.
Yeah. Being patient with yourself and others. So just like how you see people hop in the car and they're super nice, but they hop in the car and don't just get too frustrated at work or anywhere. Just always present yourself well because you just never know who is going to be your person interviewing you.
Yes, the thing I bring to that is always know that you're never the smartest in the room. If you think you're the smartest, you shut yourself down from learning. Take constructive criticism. Because there's always a better way. He can tell you years and years, you can keep improving, you'll never finish. Because you'll always be improving, right? At some point you gotta cut it off. Go ahead, Sam.
How would this apply to other majors? Like, let's say, for instance, a computer science major that's mainly.
No, I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
We couldn't hear you.
How would this apply to other majors? Let's say, for instance, a computer science major or anybody in the IT field that's mainly focused on coding, computer networks, IP addresses, mainly the intricacies of inside the computer, not just the design or the makeup of the computer that you're working on. How would what's it called, SolidWorks? How would SolidWorks apply to other majors apart from just engineers?
Well, for computer science, there's a lot of programming behind software itself. There's a lot of calculations, especially for simulations. They have a really detailed coding behind all that stuff. At least I would apply for computer science. I don't know specifically if you're looking for a career path.
Well, I'm majoring in cybersecurity. That's for me. I'm just like talking in general for like computer science as a whole, not just like the various branches.
I would assume that there would be like a lot of computer engineering behind the software.
Oh yeah, I take care. One guy had messaged me because I became a part of the network and SolidWorks experience. Saying the wrong thing, but anyway, I'm just gonna say SolidWorks. But the guy he created an add-in, so like you can create different add-ins into SolidWorks with that SolidWorks that computer science. Creating the code, creating the program, create certain add-ins that probably be a new feature that they maybe want to present.
I can speak to that. We have an integration between our production side and our engineering side, where data has to go back and forth. And trying to go from one system to another is sometimes very awkward. So we created an API interface that goes between the two. And there's coding behind that. You got to understand how SolidWorks is using the information and how the end system is needing the information. And there's a whole bunch of API and customization that can happen with SolidWorks. SolidWorks is a out-of-the-box tool that can be completely customized to exactly what you're trying to use it for. So you wouldn't even need to be necessarily in engineering to be able to manipulate SolidWorks to do a job. So the computer science side of it, you can completely go inside and see how SolidWorks is creating information in the background and how it would relate to an output.
And so I know when you came in, I think you were coming with 30 was on stage.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you stayed. To that point, when we go to World, we speak with the developers, right? They have programmers, of course, behind the scene. A lot of times, I would assume in the early days, when they coded something, they had to be checked, like, oh, that's not what it's supposed to do. So just your knowledge of and the concept of what you're doing make things easier. So with an engineer, it's so much more than just engineering. It's the concept of understanding how something works. We had one gentleman in our group, Andy, forever we thought he was a mechanical engineer because he was leading the mechanical engineering group. Come to find out when he's about to retire, he's an electrical engineer. But so to your point, coding, all of it's engineering. You have to process it. You have to do that. So I don't know enough about what you're doing to tell you how it comes into play. But I promise you, that engineering degree is so much more than just that. So that's some of the benefits. If you can take a look and do some search to see how is coding, how can it develop that name and intelligent. You know her, hey, how does this work in SolidWorks? You can create a program for it. That was what he was saying. Because at Halliburton, we have groups that have to create all of the software, operate the tools, operate the truck. They haven't the code. So, and they sit right next to us, but some of them should check with us. No, this have to go first, this have to quick first. You have to understand what the process is. So it's all intertwined. But you have experts in a different area, even in the mechanical guys. We have different forms of mechanical. You have to consult with them to get a better understanding. So again, what you're doing is right. You already broadened your horizon. You came in here just to come in here, but you stayed here to see so much more. That's what you do. That's how you get ahead.
No.
I'm sorry.
I had a question regarding instead of the software side, but more into the hardware side of computers. Like, how precise could you get with SolidWorks? For example, something that came up recently is I fumbled with a CPU chip and some of the bits, it happened. I'm sorry, I know. I was also crying on the inside of the exam. All right. So how precise could you get with the SolidWorks? For example, a while back, while just we're gonna call it what it is, doom scrolling. I found a video where they were working on the chips themselves, and there was a stencil that I saw where you could align the pins again properly. I was curious, how precise could you get with SolidWorks in situations like that, where you want to like repair components and stuff like that malfunction or user error? I've been big.
It's pretty precise, and it all comes down to the machining part of it too. Whenever, let's say, you have your template, you put the dimensions, and on the drawing you have like your tolerance into those parts and the mating parts too. So if the dimension goes wrong, then your final part's not gonna be completely accurate to it. But you can also give those drawings to the machinist, and if they are a little bit out of tolerance, then it's not gonna be. I guess it's kind of like a combination of the full process of making a part itself. I mean, you design it, you make the drawings, and then the people will do the machining job. So it's a little bit of a combination of all these different components for a final product. But sometimes there's a lot of iterations before the actual product is yourself, but it can be as precise as you make it.
Let's just say it's 8 decimal places.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I like those numbers.
Yeah.
And we have not only 3D printers, we have a desktop CNC machine. So we can do 3D printing, but also we can do machining on metal as well.
Oh.
And then so basically, in SolidWorks you build a model, but then when you try to realize that model into something physical, yeah, like she mentioned, it is determined by what kind of machine you have.
Yeah, I mean, it can be as precise as he mentioned. I mean, you can go up to 8 decimal places.
Yeah, I like those
You can place all your tolerance in the model.
Yeah.
So if you just have the model, you can just place all the tolerances on the dimensions, and they'll spit out all of the dimensions that you placed in the model on that drawing.
And getting stuff machined, it's like, it's what you're saying is, SolidWorks is extremely accurate. CNC is really accurate. A manual machinist is good as a manual machinist, right? So the part, you have all these factors that can affect whether or not something fits together. It's just a matter of, you got to check your part in SolidWorks, the CNC coder who writes the CNC code. Now a lot of software does it, but not everything, right? Because there's so many factors involved. They have to know what they're looking at to make sure they're getting your tolerances. And then the manual guy, he's got to really know what's going on, because he's sitting there turning little dials and turning this and measuring that to get to where you need to get. So there's so many factors involved in accuracy. I think a good part.
And the quality inspector, I mean, if the drawings, whatever you mentioned, it has to be tolerance. If that is out of tolerance, you can just like out of the box.
And you can
just fill the part with that tolerance. So whatever tolerance you want to put with the drawings and the model, and let's say if your parts is coming out from the machine is wrong, then basically you can double check it.
And you can get it as accurate as you want.
Yeah.
They'll just charge accordingly.
That's what I was
saying. You can probably just get about anything machined. Just how much do you want to pay for?
Yes.
As much as you can afford.
And that's what I was gonna mention, because I mean, the good thing about us, at least personally myself, working in a machine shop too, is that we get a lot of feedback from the machinists. So if you have a part that doesn't have critical dimensions on it, there's no need for you to write 8 decimal places to it, because that is just gonna complicate your model of your part. But also, like, within the specs that you need, the better that it is.
As a designer, you work with the machine shop, so we work with them all the time, and they know what we do. There's reasons why they know exactly what we do at Halliburton, because they do the same stuff. And so sometimes they'll look at a drawing, they might question a couple things, call us up and say, hey, blah blah blah, this might be a little better if we do it this way. And because we all have the same experience, and we might miss something and they catch it.
On our drawing board, it says if in doubt, and they do ask.
So the reason for that is because I've seen on videos when you work on computers like CPU chips and all that, it's all super precise and they all have to line just right or something that's short. So I've never experienced it, thank God, but so it's hard that can happen and stuff like that. And so I was curious because I've never seen like those kinds of stencils. Mostly because I'm new to all this in general, at least when it comes towards microchip design and stuff like that. I think that's what it's called. I don't really know. But in that sense, I was curious because one of the things that I've always wanted to do is, if I ever, for whatever reason, do it again, which I really don't want to, is that when that happened to me, I was like, oh my God, it's over. It's over. I think I spent at least 3 hours plus just fiddling with some light and edging with a screwdriver, just make sure right there.
You'd be surprised at how much stuff we put together that we do the same.
I was gonna say that too.
I saw the video. It's not that we all do the same thing. There's times you gotta.
But that's the important thing. I mean, you're trying to fix it, and you're trying to make it work. So that's basically one of the skills that it's gonna be. That it's gonna be crucial, whatever is on your job.
See, in this situation, the CPU was unfortunately not mine. But the good thing was, here's the good thing. there was a replacement that was better that was going in, and this was a takeout. The reason that the thing was stamped was because the thermal paste had dried up, and I, due to lack of practice here, and this is on me, I got the fortunate of learning the hard way. Just turn on the PC for 30 minutes before you remove the pan and stuff to warm up the paste. The only problem is that this paste was stock paste, and it was so difficult to pull out. It was so difficult. And I didn't even have the proper tools to like slide it under there. They were like big. And I was like, what? We'll be here all day.
And that's what I learned too. In our industry, that's why I added in engineering. When you have candidates that are going to be using your assemblies and various repairs, you want to make sure the product manual clearly says keep this up to make sure X, Y, and Z doesn't happen. So you can kind of help them out. So that whole thought process and how you would disassemble something after adding log type and all these different things to keep it in place, you gotta walk it back to how they would repair it and make it modular design for you to easily repair it.
Yeah, because for at least the paste is supposed to be the thermal paste is supposed to be they supposed to have no air mold, so there's good thermal conductivity to maintain proper or adequate temperatures when you're running it, but they get really hot. Right? And when I was doing it, the last time I did it, I had a pad instead of paste. And well, the pad just ripped off on its own. So because it wasn't the paste itself, just ripped off, and I was able to wipe it clean. So when I went to do it that time with the paste, it didn't work out so well because it was paste. And it was news to me that you needed to turn it on. Luckily, I heated that up in the morning, and I had to do it to pull it apart again. On the side of those things, I think I got it working, but Lord knows I have to really run it. I had kind of issues with that computer or another computer that was going to use that chip. All right, so
failure is the best lesson.
Right.
I mean, you're learning,
Failure is the
even if
best
you're
lesson.
messing up,
You gotta
just
keep
learning.
doing it.
So that's why we make a prototype. That's why you're doing that to create a procedure. AI is making it easier for you guys, but you have to document that because otherwise they're gonna reinvent the wheel. You document what works and what doesn't work, and that's all part of being a better engineer. As the person comes and tell you what to do, you learn nothing. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing. It sounds like it's just now, but that 3 hours, that's just a blip. That's nothing, dude. I mean, we have to go back to troubleshooting for days or weeks. Because if you don't catch it in the prototype state, that's the best time to catch it. You spend more time in the design phase and less time in production phase. So it costs you a whole heck of a lot more here than it did there, right? So those thoughts, build on it. Learn how to build on everything you do. There's no mistake, but if you can build on it, it won't happen again to you.
It won't happen again.
Right. So that's what this is all about.
And I also want to point out when Chris was demonstrating, I don't know if the students were appreciating that the fact that he was able to have assembly in simulation and move things around. So that is when the advantage of using a software like SolidWorks, you make sure all the pieces fit together, move the way you desire them to move before you prototype. So it saves you a lot of money and time. So that's again a huge advantage of using simulation software like SolidWorks.
And when you're in the workforce, be okay with saying in mistake, just like you're saying now. You don't have to apologize to us. Like
hold on, I was over here. He looked at me like he's like, I'm going to fight you, and I'm like, I agree. I want to fight myself.
No, like when you.
I'm pretty sure you worked on computers before.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you know
your story, and I'm
things you're like, oh no.
No. What
Yeah,
did
but
you do?
They can't have that mistake and actually tell them that's fine, tell other people about it at your job. Oh man, I went through that. I did X, Y, and Z. They give you more advice you didn't even think about, even though you solved it yourself.
I had the benefit of getting a nice example of that because with that computer that I was working with, it was all hand-me-down used parts, and the issue with it was that we didn't test for compatibility, or at least the software that we used said it was compatible, but it turned out it was compatible but in a roundabout way, which needed one an adapter and two a BIOS update for the motherboard itself.
Which you couldn't do.
Yeah, which I couldn't manage to do because of it was an antique piece of motherboard. We call it old now. It doesn't have a funny little button that, this is something else I learned about when I had to do it myself on my own stuff. It's called an flash button, and it lets you run basically lets you update the BIOS of the computer without it being turned on the BIOS, right? Like it just runs it itself, which is very, very handy, specifically for this case that I currently have, which I don't have a usable CPU that I can put onto the motherboard and the whole computer to make it run, so that I can then run the flash drive itself to update the BIOS, so that I can then run the CPU that I want to run again.
And that example you gave right there is how even helping the new employee now, just going through an EC and an engineering change notice, he's trying to obsolete something that's inactive. And they still ordering parts for that inactive piece, so if he obsoleted, they'll give them an option to buy. What do they have? What option? Can they buy the new part? Is it indirect? Is it directly replaceable? So you don't know that the part that you got wasn't directly replaceable with that with the old stuff. You have more adaptability.
This is a good conversation on SolidWorks. We want to move on to a couple of things, but I think you get the point, right? It's not
trial and error.
Well,
Yeah, it is.
and it's not.
The first time trying again.
Okay.
And then it's online, like they find.
So, all right, so I think we've already answered this one, although I haven't move on to Ken, but I think for this one, so tell me, what is it today that, a motivation that keeps you continuing to attend, going back to world, all going back to user group? What's, you guys have been, you three have been, and there's some other have been, but you guys can also.
Has been, right? Sorry, has been, right? So, what is it that motivates you to want to go back?
Mostly innovation. I mean, yeah, innovation. I mean, there's a lot of different, I guess, subjects or areas that you cannot really think about they're using the software, but they are. I mean, this year they had a lot of AI stuff and like parts. Now that you're talking about replacement, you can use AI to find a replacement on a part that you already have. So that cuts your time to search by half at least. So it makes it a lot more easier to do that stuff. So it's part of the reasons why we're probably gonna make a comeback every year now.
Yeah, so I wanna go because I wanna gain more knowledge. So I mean, last year I went and I noted down that whatever I wanna gain. So and this year I'm gonna also go next year. I wanna gain some knowledge and I'm part of the SolidWorks champion. So I wanna meet all the passionate engineers all over the world. So this is the only one time we can able to meet the whole champions. I mean, you can, and also want to see the different industry, how they are utilizing the SolidWorks. I would love to see how they have been utilizing the SolidWorks in real life. So that is my main goal to go to the SolidWorks world.
So you mentioned buzzword there, as a champion. We also have another one in the room over here. He's a champion as well. But so in order to be, this is another matter of fact interfering. Yeah. So, but it's an honor to be amongst them because they're supposed to be the elites. That doesn't mean, the best example I can give is if you take your car to a mechanic and on the wall there's a certification and there's some that's not, who do you want to work on your car?
The guy with the certification.
That doesn't mean he's any better, but he's proven that he can do it. That's what it's all about. Go ahead.
So with that being said, SolidWorks has their own set of certifications, right? Which ones would make you feel or make an employer feel more qualified? Like I know y'all have the also associate one, but after that you have your professional one, and then that long list of whatever the heck goes where it was 3Ds, it was fluid design, it was I don't know.
So after the P, there's the E. If that's the top. There's others out there, but he is the expert, right? And again, doesn't mean there's any better than you that don't have any. That means he's proven that he went through the processes to get that. And that if I'm hiring someone, I don't know either one of them. Fortunately, to go with one that has experience. Got it. That.
And I think if you go to World, you actually get a certification. A voucher for exam, right? I believe.
Yeah.
If you go to World, then it comes with at least one free exam voucher. And you can take that one.
And they have every before the conference start, event start on Sunday and Monday morning. I think they have the whole free voucher.
Oh yeah, you
for
can.
the
Yeah.
exam.
Or you can wait and take it at home too. And have your multiple screens and stuff. I didn't know that. I did not know that. But my word for world or words is like the learning. I got so many different classes, whether you want to know the software side, EPM, manager, 3D, CAD, AI, everything. So this learning and networking, because that's where maybe your future job is. That person you were chit-chatting about AI, that could, you have this degree, okay. I'll put you in the room with the right people. So networking, learning, and excitement. When I tell you everybody is excited, everybody is excited. And I was like, oh, this energy. And so the general session, when they have like every morning, people are running to the general session. They are running to get a good seats. They are running to their classes, not to class, but the general session, they have the Hive, which has all the technologies that he spoke about in the first beginning, people having fun. So you're learning, having fun, networking, all that is mixed in one. So it's worth it.
And I feel like for some of you that don't know what you want to do whenever you grow up or graduate from school, you may find what you want to do.
Oh yeah, that's good.
One more question that I had, that I'm not taking up. Does anyone else have questions before I ask? I don't want to be rude. Sorry, you talked about certifications and people that don't have certifications. How would you demonstrate to an employer that you have the skills without certifications? That's one question that I would like to know, because there's certain skills that I have that I can't really physically demonstrate without being there in person.
Michael may be in a better answer.
So, if you're going to school, the industry around here knows what they teach here. They know what they teach at University of Houston. They know what they teach at UT. They know that they teach at the major universities. And there's an expectation that you don't know a lot. You know a lot of calculations, you know a lot of this stuff, but you might not know a whole lot of engineering process and making a product, right? And so when you're fresh out of school, they kind of know you might be limited on how much on all this stuff and SolidWorks and that kind of knowledge and specific software. I've gotten jobs. When I got a job at Halliburton, I never used SolidWorks, but I was good at CAD. I just said, hey, I'm good at CAD, right? And I got a job at SolidWorks, and at Halliburton, I learned SolidWorks on my own. I just started messing with it, and I learned on my own. So when you're going to a new company, it helps you to know it all. Like if you can say, I know SolidWorks and get some kind of certification, it gives them an idea to possibly choose you over somebody else. But once you're in there, that's when you have the opportunity to take off and show that you're the guy to go to, right? Yeah.
And that's what I mentioned, like being involved in your school is probably going to be the best tool for you to kind of go towards a better employer like you would. Because let's say if in your class there's like 20 people and only one or two have some experience in SolidWorks, whenever you graduate, they will see that you have at least one or two students in that class that have like some experience on it. So it's, at least on my experience, it's critical for you to start doing stuff while you're still studying.
My son, he took a lot of CAD in high school. He's AutoCAD, whatever the first certification for AutoCAD, he's already gotten that out of high school. So he did it when he was in school. because I think the opportunity is mostly free when you're in
Yeah.
school to get these
Like
certifications, right?
licenses are free
And
for
so now's the
students.
time, start learning SolidWorks, go through the tutorials and take the test. And it's a funny thing. So I'm sort of CSWP, I'm a professional. Me and Joe took it many moons ago. And I'm not that old. And if I had to take the test now, I probably wouldn't pass it. Because I have, like, to talk about what the question was, why do you keep coming back to this? Because I learned something new every time. I knew of multi-mates, but I never used multi-mates. I saw them do it. I go, that's where it is. So I learned something new every time because I have a workflow. I do things a certain way. I don't have to think about doing them that way. So I don't ever do the new ways. I don't ever do the new commands and the shorter commands and all this kind of stuff. Like when he made the L, and I know you can do that, but I will never do it that way. When he did the L and the way he extruded it, it's just because my muscle memory. I can do it. I don't have to think about making an L the way I do it. If I had to do it his way, I have to think, okay, where's that button again? And it slows me down. So that's why I say if I had to take a CSWP test now, it might not, because I took it, what version was it?
So
2002?
to his point, so to his point, when we took the test, it was an 8-hour test.
Yeah.
Today it's what? I don't know. It's
Four.
three and a half different books.
But you can break up in seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to sit in the classroom and take it.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a thing. Yeah, but it was brutal. And I agree. I'm retired now, so I agree. It would take a lot more effort. To that point, though, if you're entering the world of SolidWorks, that's the best time to take it because you're learning all of the correct terminology. That's key, right? So as you progress, stop with an A and progress as you go along, it's much easier to do it that way. Once you stop forming the bad habits, that's when you get it. So another point is that the entry level, we learn from you guys because we're not doing the new stuff. Like you said, we're used to doing it a certain way. So don't think because you're new at it, you can't teach anybody this. Because you remember, I don't know what I'm new at this. So
I've always learned something from the new people coming in and go, how'd you do that? Right? I'm sitting there, somebody new in the company, and I learned something from the new people most of the time because I don't use the new commands. Right?
They have mouse gestures, all types.
Yeah, I don't use mouse
And
gestures at all.
that's the other thing too, like another reason why we like to come back every year, because every year they come out with a new version of SolidWorks. So during the conference, like on the talks that they do in the different workshops, they show you like the new tools that they're developing with the newer version of SolidWorks as well. So every single session you're gonna learn something new, even though you use the same features from previous version. I mean, there's always gonna be new knowledge to learn. So.
And that's another way you can help. Another way you can help your future employer on your resume attended SolidWorks or 3D experience work.
One thing I would say, look, just like him, I learned on the job with SolidWorks, but me having a associates in graphic design and architectural engineering, they saw that I did degrees, but I also kept my senior project that I had for architectural engineering. That one showed a booklet of start to finish, like survey and demolition of a project. So if you have senior projects, keep your ideas on what you have to do, and the 3D printer, the machine, whatever tools that you use, and you can keep pictures or documentation on it. It helps show too when you're on the interview. You can actually bring a book if you want to, like the portfolio of your work.
Okay, so we're very well along to that time. Question number 5 is only one question I did. This one we've already answered. Would you recommend them to go to World?
Yes. It's so exciting. This right here, no, the excitement level is at the 2,000. Like he's giving away prizes, people walking around, and I got a thing where they had on stilts through the party. Like it's fun.
I have a comment with that. Something that blew my mind in 3D experience world. It was that I was working in a company, so I was the manager for the new project development, right? So they give me a brand new robot. So they told me, do whatever you want with it. We need to get this done. So I installed the robot. I learned how to manage the robot. I needed to do all the pictures for the robot in SolidWorks, tool holders, the part holder, everything, right? So I needed some tool changer for a special tool I was working on. So I was looking. So I found it, like the brand in USA, right? It was really cool. It blew my mind when I saw that tool changer because the robot just go and get it and start working, right? So when I went to SolidWorks, I was talking with this guy, normal random guy, and then I started explaining my project, and then he said, "Are you talking about this?" That he got his phone and this, and then yeah, that's the tool I bought. And then he was like, "I have the patent." What? He did it. His name was in the drawing. I used it. So
That was perfect. Yeah. I'll send you a check in the mail.
Another one related to Worlds this year was you may see drive around little boom trucks, say All Tech.
Yes.
On the boom. Those were fully designed in SolidWorks.
Every version.
Every single different version of that truck All Tech uses was made in SolidWorks.
So anytime you see an ice storm around you, a hurricane, and you see all these trucks sitting back waiting to be, okay, you see thousands of trucks in town, right? They all take, that was designed in software. And actually, those guys have internal groups and the big example as well. So the last question is, what is the one thing that you hope that audience take away from the meeting?
To go to SolidWorks. This year's, and that's the thing, yeah, this one is in Houston, so there's no additional travel as they were mentioning earlier, so.
Yeah, I mean,
highly recommend.
Yeah, they don't do at a one year at the same place, 2 years consecutive, they never do, like I don't. Somehow last year it happened, this year happened here, next year also will be happening. I'm happy for it. Oh yeah, we love it.
To your point, to your point, SolidWorks for a 3D experience, you should go. But that networking that I've been talking about and screaming about, like you have to break out your shell. You're the normal, quiet, you're intimidated, just break out of it. Everybody is scared of something. My nerves was a little bit, I'm okay. Like I'm okay with talking about it. But the thing is, you have to break out your shell and just be open to meeting everybody. And when you're open, you're gonna learn so much, and you're gonna create opportunities for yourself.
All right, I want to add something, and actually echoing one of the panelists earlier. One thing is to separate yourself from the other students. When it's time for you to look for a job, is to get involved in a project or competition. And many of my students, they learned SolidWorks so fast because they were involved in competition. You can get free license. If you are competing, you can apply for a free license. Many of my students in the past, they did that. One of my teams many years ago designed a tool for NASA, and it is currently at the International Space Station. It's being used by them. And one of my previous team got invited to World to demonstrate their project. It's just unfortunately they could not go. But if I'm assuming, Joe, if I have future teams that are doing well with competition and are able to design something in SolidWorks, I'm assuming we're invited back to.
Yes, so as you all know, I'll put you in contact with the person of the educational, and since they already know who you are, I don't think you probably get back in.
Yeah. Except that I don't have any team doing any work with SolidWorks. So if I have a team that are doing work in SolidWorks, we got Joe's word that we're invited back.
Y'all can create a team right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was mentioning.
Right now.
Yeah, I started doing work with the Society of Automotive Engineers. We were doing the meeting of the cars. So like hold the frame, supports, sheet metal work for the outer shell of the car. We all did that in SolidWorks. That was basically my step into using SolidWorks when I was in college. Highly recommend.
So I'm going to play a quick video.
I think.
Go ahead, I'm trying. Go ahead, questions.
There's so many things you can do, but how do we get a good foundation?
Foundation and what?
On how to do the stuff we want to do. So right now, I go in, I have no idea what I'm doing, how to draw anything, how to do anything. How can I learn the basic parts?
They have a lot of tutorials like for basic level, entry level for that stuff, and that'll be your best kind of how to start.
In the software, the tutorial.
Or else, you know, like Udemy or Going Teacher or school. In school they have the basic. I mean, start from the curriculum from the basics,
we have
right?
a class
Yes.
here.
Yes.
We have a
SolidWorks
class.
has class.
Yeah, engineering graphics is one of
Yeah,
Oh,
them.
that's
just took it.
They
So
have
they start that from scratch.
designer certificate of certification.
And yes, at the center, we have graphics certificates, but also on the engineering side, we have engineering graphics, which is a fundamental engineering class that you can take.
But there's so many
Now you-
personalities on YouTube. There's so many personalities on YouTube that teach it, so you can find a voice that you like and you can understand and whatever, and you just follow along with what they're saying on the video.
From
She has one.
Sure.
Question?
Hang on a second. So, ask you a question. If you go to YouTube, SolidWorks have whatever you're looking for to learn or tips and tricks, go to their website and if you subscribe there, they'll walk you through all of the processes. There's others, but I'll just you get there and you stop to get where you with it. Like, there's a tutorial you do a certain event, it's very instrumental. Here's a podcast where you have people competing against each other. That's how we got to what it is. You can learn. I would stop there.
I mean, I think my question was kind of already answered, but I was gonna ask you guys, who are your favorite sources or YouTubers to learn about SolidWorks from?
Who told Toby?
Yes.
How do you spell it?
TOOTALLTOBY.
Got it.
He does everything. He does challenges, all kinds of stuff. His website, you can register for free and get practice models to do all kinds of things. Two-tone.
Right, so.
Yeah, there's a bar.
He has his own website.
Yeah,
He designed it too.
it's so, I mean, very easy and so very, very nice money, very, very easy from the beginning, associate basics and they're professionals. That's how I learned from it. It's a really good course. I mean, but in university you teach, but it's a really good course in Udemy that I learned from it.
And you can use YouTube, like, any questions you may have, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a video of something close or please.
Yeah, if you,
In that
so
course,
if you
they
click on the search.
start teaching from the basics.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna end, we're about to end it. I'm gonna play a quick video on the screen, give an example about going to world, go give some different words when we're done. So I apologize for going.
I see what you mean.
Welcome to another 3D experience world. Yes, that's right.
Your enthusiasm, your support is fueling our imagination. We are ready to change the game once again. We are going to paint Houston red today. I have a personal connection with you guys. Looks, I am a SolidWorks lover. Really, I am.
This community is very welcoming and open to first-timers and newcomers.
People are very willing to mentor you. There is a very passionate community around this suite of products.
You are a vibrant community of over 80 designers, engineers, students, makers, and entrepreneurs.
This takes 2 minutes, and using SolidWorks, we're getting it down to a minute and a half.
This meeting is all about
really building stuff, not just computing, not just doing AI, but making physical things.
It's not all about being women or men or how you identify. It is about learning more, adding value, being innovative.
We've got users in here battling using SolidWorks to design.
The stress basically is design in SolidWorks.
We're here with Myth to show off the open source chair that we're making. We designed the chassis, which using SolidWorks from the ground up.
SolidWorks is the gold standard.
Welcome to day 2.
Every day, you create, innovate, and solve problems. 3D Experience Work Simulation empowers SolidWorks users.
You're able to easily design, develop, share across different teams, communicating important changes.
It's game changing, it's cultural changing.
Great stuff on the horizon.
This is the power of this community. Your work shapes history, connects us all, and drives the progress. 30 years of SolidWorks, and we are still dreaming very big, aren't we? We are just at the beginning of what we can do together.
Okay, so I want, that hopefully gets you a little excited. I can see the names on this.
Like I'm ready.
Wow, that's a wrap. Just like that, another successful HOUSUG meeting. Special thanks to the panelists, the hosts, the facility, to all, especially the intro level class participants that were here. You guys were awesome. Greatly appreciated. Don't forget, we see you at 3DX26, 3D Experience World in Houston.